In 1928, the streets of New York City were filled with unease. Children were disappearing without a trace, leaving families desperate for answers. The police were overwhelmed, searching for clues that seemed impossible to find. Among these missing children was 10-year-old Grace Budded, whose disappearance would uncover one of the most horrifying criminals in American history, Albert Fish, the Gray Man. Grace Budded was a bright, cheerful 10-year-old loved by her family and friends. In June of 1928, she was persuaded to leave home for what her family believed would be a small birthday celebration with a stranger who seemed trustworthy. Grace's parents had no reason to suspect the man who claimed he wanted to employ her briefly. Grace never returned home, the city was in shock, and the police were left with no leads. Weeks later, a letter arrived at her family's home, one that would reveal the unimaginable horrors she had endured at the hands of Albert Fish. Albert Fish was born in 1870 in Washington, D.C. He grew up with severe mental illness and sadistic tendencies. By adulthood, Fish's obsessions had become horrifying. He was a pedophile, a sadist, and a cannibal, preying on children across the United States. Fish earned the nickname Gray Man because he appeared ordinary, blending seamlessly into society while committing monstrous acts. He meticulously planned his crimes, studying victims, tend their families, gaining their trust, and striking only when he knew they were vulnerable. Fish's mind was a labyrinth of depravity, combining cunning deception with unimaginable cruelty. Grace Budd's abduction began with a lie. Fish convinced her family that she was needed for a birthday celebration. Grace, excited and unsuspecting, went with him. Alone and isolated, Fish carried out his horrific acts. Later, he sent a letter to her parents describing in gruesome detail what had happened. The letter shocked the nation, revealing a level of cruelty that seemed impossible to comprehend. Grace's murder was not an isolated case. Fish confessed to multiple murders, some victims unknown. He preyed on vulnerable children, often using deception to lure them into his trap. His crimes involve not only murder, but torture and cannibalism, making him one of the most depraved killers in U.S. The investigation into Fish's crimes was painstaking. Detectives analyzed letters, traced handwriting, and followed every possible lead. The breakthrough came when the letter sent to Grace Budd's family was linked to Fish. Authorities finally had their suspect, and in 1934, Albert Fish was arrested. Even after his arrest, Fish shocked investigators. He calmly described his crimes in detail, explaining motives and methods as if he were narrating an ordinary story. His confessions reveal the full scope of his sadism and cannibalistic acts, horrifying the nation. Albert Fish's trial began in 1935. In the courtroom, the details of his crimes emerged. Fish admitted to the murder of Grace Budded and confessed to other killings. The defense argued that he was insane, but the jury was unconvinced. The evidence, letters, witness statements, and confessions was overwhelming. Fish was convicted and sentenced to death. On January 16, 1936, Albert Fish was executed at Sing Sing prison. Though the Gray Man was gone, the terror he inflicted and the lives he destroyed left an indelible mark on history. Albert Fish's story remains one of the most disturbing in American criminal history. His crimes change law enforcement approaches, leading to better profiling of serial killers and heightened awareness of child safety. Fish's victims, like Grace Budded, are remembered as a chilling reminder of the dangers that can hide behind seemingly ordinary faces. The gray man may have died in 1936, but his legacy of horror continues to fascinate and terrify. Albert Fish is a stark reminder of the darkness that can exist in humanity and the importance of vigilance, justice, and remembrance.